I never thought a year ago that I'm gonna drive this cat.
That cat is actually a Leopard 2 tank, and that's Vladimir Klitschko, the mayor of Kyiv's brother, driving one on the battlefield in Ukraine over the weekend. On Friday, Ukraine's prime minister and defense minister greeted Poland's prime minister as he delivered his country's first Leopard tanks. Last month, it was Poland that led the way for allies to make similar commitments.
1 year ago, the world was bracing for the fall of Kyiv. Well, I just come from a visit to Kyiv, and I can report Kyiv stands strong.
President Biden's message there outside the Warsaw Royal Castle earlier this week was one of defiance and a promise of unwavering U.S. support. This was Biden's second visit to Poland in 1 year. There he met with the country's president and Eastern European leaders of the Bucharest 9 countries. Marcin Przydacz is the top foreign policy advisor to Poland's President Duda. I spoke to him on Friday about Biden's visit and Poland's war in this second year of war. Marcin Przydacz, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
You were in the room this week during President Biden's meeting with your president, President Duda, in Warsaw, and you were also there for the Bucharest 9. You've had a very busy week. I wonder how significant was the president's visit to Poland to mark this one-year anniversary?
Well, it was very important. It was the second visit of the U.S. president to Poland within 1 year. Yeah. 11 months earlier, we also had the honor to host President Biden. It shows his commitment and his dedication and the fact that the U.S. is very much determined to continue its support to the eastern flank of NATO, but also to Ukraine. So for Poland, it was very important visit, but I do believe that it was also very important for the U.S. and all our North Atlantic partners. It shows that the cooperation between Warsaw and the main NATO stakeholders is very good, that President Biden chose Warsaw as the city to send the global signal, to the global audience, that we are the free world and that we are very much determined to defend our world. Of course, this war is today on the territory of Ukraine. That's why we need to support them. But it's, as President Biden said in Warsaw, there is a division between the free world based on rules, based on our values, and the dedication to human rights. On the other side, we had dark autocrats, aggressive neo-colonial, neo-imperial Russia, which understands only one language, the language of no. That was the message of President Biden sent from Warsaw, and we are very much pleased with that.
Poland has been one of the countries that's pushing other countries, allies, in a number of fronts to provide large machinery. You pushed the U.S. and Germany to send Leopard 2 tanks. Your government has announced more tanks as well. What is the timeline on, we've sent 4 tanks, what is the timeline on how quickly those things will get there? Do you have a sense of how the training is going and what more is needed from Ukraine?
I do. Our Prime Minister Morawiecki, is today in Kyiv, right now paying a visit to Kyiv, together with our Leopards. So the Polish Leopards are already on Ukrainian soil, ready to fight. The trainship concluded in Poland. So the Ukrainian tankers are ready to use this equipment. As you know, we sent one battalion, one grouping of the 14 of Leopards. But before that, we've already sent 260 Polish tanks to Ukraine. So we are very much pleased that other allies, other partners are sending 6, 4, or 10 or 15 tanks. But just bear in mind that Poland played already a very much significant role in this coalition, sending altogether almost 300 tanks to Ukraine. Using these tanks, Ukrainian soldiers managed to regain control over those territories of Kharkiv region and the Kherson region. So those 2 parts which were already occupied by Russian troops since springtime.
Poland also seems to be pushing now for some commitment on fighter jets. I know that you have suggested you would do it if the United States is willing to support it. The United States does not seem interested at this stage in providing fighter jets. When I talked to the U.S. ambassador to NATO last week, she said to me that it was in large part because of the amount of training required and the maintenance of fighter jets, that it is simply too much to perhaps undertake. What is your government's position on fighter jets, and how likely do you think it is that other countries, allies, will eventually get to the point where they want to send them?
Well, from the very beginning of this discussion, we've been saying, President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, has been saying that it's not an easy process. I mean, it's not about only donation of one or two planes or fighter jets. It's about training. It's not that easy to do it within days or weeks. So we were, I would say that we were pushing someone. It's a bit of exaggeration. We said that we would be ready to do it in a broader coalition if that would be the need, both from Ukrainian side and the readiness on the Western side. So what we are pushing for is rather the artillery system for Ukraine, air defense systems, in order to help them to defend their civilian infrastructure, this critical infrastructure of Ukrainian economy, because Russia has been shelling and hitting just the civilian parts of every Ukrainian city. So this is very much important. So we need to offer them more ammunition and more artillery system, just like Poland done. We've sent them a lot of the pieces of artillery. Now is the time for other allies to follow this good example, I believe.
Poland has done a lot over this past year, taken in many Ukrainians, provided much equipment and support to Ukraine, obviously because you're a neighbor to Ukraine, but also, of course, because you care about the situation for the world. I wouldn't mind getting just your reflections on what you think has changed over the past year in terms of how the world is approaching this issue and when it will end.
Well, that's a very difficult question. What has changed since this war? I do believe that many of our Western allies finally understood that Putin's Russia is an aggressive actor on the international scene, that it's not that easy to do diplomacy with them, and doing business as usual and as it was in previous years, and getting into the energy contacts and contracts, naming Nord Stream 1 or Nord Stream 2 was a very, very bad idea. So that's a positive effect of this. But the cost which has been being paid right now, both by Ukraine and Ukrainian soldiers, is just too high for this lesson. Poland, from the very beginning of 2000s, was somehow telling the world that unfortunately Russia is not a regular actor. Of course, a big, important power, regional power, but what we need to do is to deter Russia and send the proper strategic messages to Moscow. We are very much optimistic with regard to this. This lesson has been taken. We are also somehow paying the price because of the instability in the entire region. We received more than 8 million refugees cross the Polish border. It was an immense cost also on our economy. Now what we need to do is to just stay together, help each other, and I'm very happy that we can count also on our Canadian friends and on our North American friends.
Mr. Przydacz, thank you for making the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.